of music. So let's go.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for joining me once again on Getting to Know the Detectorist. And as you can see, this gentleman needs no introduction. This Mr. Madison, Maine, all the way from the USA. Madison, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate your time.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. I enjoy all these interviews you do with all your guests.
Where did this whole hobby, this whole digging in the ground nonsense start for you?
Oh, I think treasure hunting is in everyone's DNA. And I remember Christmas 2011 talking to my father and my brother, and I just told them I'm going to buy a metal detector and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it. I watched a few people on YouTube like Treasure Fiend and Adventures with Jim, kind of gave me the itch. So I ordered a metal detector. I had it in January and I got out there and got started.
So you would say that you've been actively active in the hobby since 2011?
Yeah, January of 2012 actually, right after Christmas.
Ah, okay.
Christmas 2011, January 2012.
Well, I would class you as a veteran of metal detecting. What was the first machine you started with, without going into too much detail?
The Garrett AT Pro was what I ordered. You hem and haw, there's so many choices, it just was the one I started with.
Damn, I would say out of personal experience, that's a steep learning curve. After seeing what you did to your sound settings last night, I can understand you mastering that machine quickly.
Yeah, we had a few technical difficulties getting this interview to happen, that's for sure.
Well, luckily I could put money on you getting it right, so that's perfect. Right, now, your 4 years, let's say 4 years, well, 3 years detecting, actively detecting. What would you label as what is your favorite find so far?
Oh, that's easy. I live in Maine, which is northernmost state, in the lower 50 states. And Civil War relics aren't something you find very often because we didn't have any Civil War battles this far north.
Okay.
And I found Civil War Eagle breastplate. Which had to be brought back by a Union soldier from the war and, lost around his home site, or the home site, dissipated in time. And that's a fantastic find. I never expected to find anything like that.
I can say safely that I've seen the video. It's called Mud Detecting with the Garrett AT Pro. And Madison, if you don't mind, I'm just going to do a little link in the video pointing people to that video so that they can check it out themselves. I actually saw it's quite a broken piece of, or quite a broken up artifact. You can see it had some damage. I think probably when they bulldozed the house or broke it down. But there's a lot of detail on that thing. And you mentioned that it was made out of lead.
Yes, they were lead backed. I believe the front is brass with a lead back.
Oh, that must have given a cracking signal.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that probably screamed your ears off. Lead and brass. Oh, and that size. Oh, man, that must have been a killer signal. I can't remember, how deep was it?
Oh, it was only a couple inches. I was in a plowed field.
Right.
So, that's how it got damaged. Obviously,
of course,
when the plow come by, it damaged the artifact, but still glad to have it either way.
There's enough detail to identify it properly and be able to display it. I would be very proud of that find myself. Now, of all the things that you've seen and dug up yourself, what would you label as the thing that you would really like to find in the future?
Well, one thing that I can't seem to find is a seeded coin. Here in the U.S., seeded coins were minted in the 1800s, and a lot of people find them, and I can't seem to find one myself. So a seeded coin of any type would be what I'd like to find.
Now, I've watched quite a bit of your videos, and I've seen you've got a big range of equipment that you use. Give us a little bit or a quick description of the items that you use to detect.
Okay, my pinpointer is the Garrett Pro pointer, which is pretty common. A lot of people have that one. First, I started out with the Garrett AT Pro my first year in 2012. Then to start 2013, I bought the x-terra 705, and I have the 3 kilohertz coil for that. I wanted something a little different than the AT Pro, which operates at 15 kilohertz. And then I kind of got the itch to buy something different, try something new, and I saw these Bliss tool metal detectors out of Bulgaria, and they were getting deep finds and they're doing crazy things with them. And so I irrationally ordered one, and I play with that too. So.
Irrationally, I can actually relate.
All right, this is what we got for settings here. Our gain is like on 0 because of all the interference here. Our discrimination depth is on 9. Discrimination's on 6.5.
Now I've seen the AT Pro that you use has got the small 5x8 or 5x8 coil, which is something that I really want, but I don't have an AT Pro. I've only got the Ace 150. And then I've also got the 705, which I'm in love with, but I really would like a smaller coil. Now I've seen a video of you using your x-terra 705 with a covered coil, as well as a massive orange coil. Tell us more about that. That's actually, if you take that thing and you throw it like a frisbee into a field, and there where it lands, they will report crop circles. That's the size of that coil.
Pulled any silver out this year. I pulled a lot out last year.
Tell us more about that coil, the orange coil.
Okay, that's the Coil Tech WOT Wild Orange thing, I think is what it stands for. And I got the 3 kilohertz, which is the lowest frequency you can get it in. And it goes deep and it reacts well to copper and silver. So if you're coin shooting, that thing's a beast.
So when you go into something like a plowed field, you would really advise people to get the crop circle creator.
Oh, maybe. It depends on what's in that field. If it's loaded with nails and trash and all kinds of stuff, you might want that AT Pro, that little 5x8, because it has the high resolution ion discrimination, which is unbelievable difference in being able to pick out targets amongst nails and trash.
That's actually something that I can agree with. I've seen so many videos where the ion discrimination I don't think, well, in my limited experience, anything can rival the ion discrimination on a Garrett AT Pro. That's just my opinion. Now, if we can go to the Bliss tool coil, it's pretty much the same size as the crop circle orange coil. But what makes the Bliss tool so special, and what type of depth do you reach with that?
Okay, I'm still learning the Bliss tool. It's a beast. It's full of knobs. It's an analog machine. You don't have a sensitivity. You have a gain, and you have a threshold, and you have all these other knobs. And it kind of reminds me, you ever see the movie Spinal Tap? Remember the scene where the guy has the amplifier and all the knobs go to 11? And the guy asks him, can't the highest setting be 10? He says, yeah, but mine goes to 11. That's me on my Bliss tool. I crank the thing up because I want it to get as deep as I can possibly get, and I get everything on 11. So. So you actually get positive results on the maximum setting. Oh no, you could never get it to maximum. I mean, it'd just be crazy, drive you crazy. When I made my videos with my Bliss tool, I always have it cranked up, and it always makes a lot of racket and stuff, and people are always commenting, turn the sensitivity down, things driving me crazy. And I kind of like to hunt like that. I kind of like that noise, unless it's still working.
Now, you've mentioned that people if you put the sensitivity or the settings to the maximum on the Bliss tool, you get quite a lot of chatter on the machine. You know, maybe false signals, electrical interference. But over and above all that, I wanted to call it music now, but all of that noise, you're still able to identify a proper signal, don't you?
Yes, if it gets to be too much where I can't pick out signals, you know, I cut it back a little bit. But I like to hear that little bit of chatter that tells me I got the thing cranked up. And if there's something, you know, that's just out of reach, I want to be able to reach everything I can. You know, that one good find for the day, you know, you could be going right over it if you don't have your machine cranked up.
Exactly. I know what you're talking about there. Now, we've discussed your 80 Pro, your MindLab x-terra 705, and then your Bliss tool. Have you got any other machines for detecting apart from your pinpointer?
No, those are the three I have, and that's quite enough, you know.
I would agree, man. Those are three powerful machines. Now, anybody that's got the 80 Pro, I would like to understand, why did you choose to go to the x-terra 705 as well? Was there a better variety of settings, or why did you choose the x-terra as well?
Well, I wanted something that was completely different than the AT Pro. And when you get a machine that's completely different, you learn a lot of different techniques and how the nuances of the other machine. It actually helps you with the machine you had before. And, you know, I'd advise anybody who has one machine and learned one machine, don't get the next one up in line from what you have. Get something completely different. You know, you'll come up with different things. You know, you take this different machine to the same sites, and you'll dig stuff you didn't think was there, you know?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that before in my own experience as well. Plenty of guys do research before they buy machines or even consider joining the hobby or doing the hobby. What advice would you give them with regards to buying a machine and joining this great hobby of ours?
Well, for one, you got to know yourself a little bit. Like with me, I went with a mid-range machine because I knew I was going to stick with it. I knew I wasn't going to buy the thing and it was going to sit in the closet and collect dust because I didn't want to do it anymore. And if you're not certain about that, don't spend too much money. You know, get one of the $200 to $300 machines. And when you get the machine, dig everything and go out and learn the sounds. What would help is when you're out there detecting, you come across the target, you know, the machine tries to tell you what it is. Guess in your mind before you dig that target, you know, this is a nickel. You know, this is a pull tab, you know, this is a bottle cap. See how good you can get at IDing the targets before you dig them. That's how you really learn. I made the mistake when I bought my AT Pro. I thought I could read the books and, you know, go on all the metal detecting forums and be a master of it before I ever swung the machine. So I got the thing, I was ready, you know, I knew all the settings and this and that. I made tons of mistakes, you know. The biggest mistake I made the first year with that machine was, you know, it tells you cut the sensitivity back, you know, when you start out. I was like, geez, here I am 3-4 months into this machine. I'm hitting all these schoolyards. I don't have any silver coins. When are the silver coins coming? Are they all gone out of the ground? The day I turned that sensitivity up to max, I said, this is what we're going to do from now on. I dug 2 silver dimes that day. And they were like back-to-back holes. And I never looked back, you know. So you could learn more from the machine yourself than what you're going to read in any book.
After a while, based on what you told me, and I agree 100%, the machine will start talking to you. The signals, the sound it makes, you'll be able to determine the size of the item, the shape. I'm able to determine the shape and what type of metal it is. So all comes with experience. You don't go into a shop, buy a machine, switch it on, and everything pops out of the ground. It doesn't happen that way. And that's one thing that I really want people to understand. Metal detecting really needs you to be extremely patient. Now, Madison, you've been on YouTube for how long now?
since 2012, January.
Oh, you also you started uploading the videos at the same time. That's that's great. Didn't waste any time. Now, when you look at your subscriber base, do you feel pressure to deliver proper content or to answer every comment? Or how do you deal with that?
When I upload a video, I'll try to answer and acknowledge every comment and every question for like a week or two. But as the videos age and you get comments like, 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, I'll only go back and answer them if they're like questions that need to be answered. Somebody says, nice finds, and that was a good dig or something like that. I won't bother going back to somebody who watched a video that's 6 months old or a year old and make a comment. But I try to comment on all my current videos.
Now, if you look at somebody starting out on YouTube, it's a daunting task. You don't know what people want, you don't know what to offer them. What advice would you give somebody that wants to upload and share their videos with regards to metal detecting? What advice, YouTube advice, would you give them?
Okay, you see so many videos on YouTube where, look, this is my first find. Look, this is my second find. Here's my third find. Here's a wrap up. And that's their whole video. There's no live digs. I don't see the machine display. I don't hear it working. I don't know how deep the targets are or how many nails are in the ground or anything, a history of the site. If there's something interesting going on around you, you can tape that. Like if there's two beetles over here beating cheeks, put the camera on that. I mean...
Yeah, a little bit of background on the area, historical site, house site, foundations. Like, I understand what you're saying. Looking at all the videos available on YouTube about metal detecting, what type of content really pulls your attention? What type of content with regards to metal detecting do you enjoy?
Okay. I can tell you what I don't like, and
that's fine.
Hopefully nobody gets offended, but if you're on a beach and you're digging jewelry and clad coins, and it's hard to keep my interest, Yeah, I want you to go to somewhere old. I want you to dig something old. It doesn't have to be a coin. It could be an old buckle or, anything interesting. I don't like, the blah, blah, I dug $5 and change and that's all I got today, If you don't find something interesting, it's okay. Delete the footage and wait till you find something interesting, then post the video. I delete a lot of footage, I go out and I'll hunt for 3 hours and I don't find anything that I'd consider interesting, so I don't make a video.
By the videos that I've seen, I can't really make up my mind. What type of detectorist are you? Do you focus on relics, coins, prospecting? What type of detectorist are you?
Well, I could tell you I'm not the guy who loves digging a bunch of clad and jewelry. One time I was at a schoolyard and I dug a gold ring and a silver coin. When I got home that night, I had forgotten all about the gold ring. All I could think about was the silver coin. So that in my mind told me I love coins, but I love relics just as much as I love coins. So I'm not just a coin guy or just a relic guy. I like both equally as well. To me, if you can date something to a certain period of time or a certain thing in history, like a war relic or something like that, that's it doesn't matter if it's a coin or if it's a relic to me.
So what type of areas do you mostly detect or target? Old homesteads, farmland, beach? Tell us more about that.
Okay, I only go to the beach when I'm forced to. Either my wife will drag me to the beach in the summertime and where I'm going to find absolutely nothing, or I go there in the wintertime when there's 4 feet of snow and it's frozen. But people watch my videos like seeing me out in that cornfield where I've been blessed to come up with a lot of great finds. There's an old homestead in that cornfield and in a couple other cornfields that I hunt. So the area I live in Maine, in in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, people left their farms in Maine to go out to Ohio and Pennsylvania, where, you know, farming was better, and they just left their homes behind. So, you know, the landscape is littered with all these old home sites. Okay, I got to ask you something now.
Well, let's hear it.
Where did you come up with the name VonnCrit? But let me add more to it.
Right?
Now your name is Dave. When I first saw VonnCrit, I thought your name was Vaughn and your last name was Crit.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, VonnCrit, all it reminds me of is, remember Tales from the Crypt from the HBO series back in the 80s?
Oh, way back, yeah.
The Crypt Keeper. And when I hear VonnCrit, all I can think of is the Crypt Keeper from that show. So tell me how you come up with VonnCrit.
Right, now, when I started YouTube, that was way back in 2006. I uploaded a small video just to test it out of me playing games, World of Warcraft back in the day. And then the channel went, I almost said bankrupt, I meant stagnant, if I can put it that way, until last year. And I always used the internet alias Von Strachvik, which is a fictional character name for a Viking. And I shortened the name to Von, being my internet username, and Crit being representing a critical strike for when you hit somebody at a vulnerable spot. When it comes to shooting games or something like that. So I just combined the two words, and VonnCrit, it's something that stuck. And it's an easy name to pronounce and remember, I think. So that's actually what the whole, nothing fancy, it's just what it, that's all. That's how the thing came about. Gaming and just an old internet username.
Well, that makes sense now.
I wouldn't want to be the guy on the motorcycle outside waiting for your daughter to come out with the arsenal behind your back. I think I'll come in, I'll introduce myself and beg for your permission to take her away to prom or whatever the case may be. Madison, man, thank you very much for doing this with me. Guys, this is Madison, Maine, the rock and roll icon in the metal detecting community. Check out his channel. I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description below, as well as a fancy pop-up on the video annotation where you can just click and visit his channel and check out all his videos. You won't waste your time. It's really interesting stuff. Madison, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you.